Now the third question is, so we are sorted with that. सर अलग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे हुआ था, विदाउट नॉलेज भी चलेगा. यहाँ तो क्या लिखा है भाई कि without any contract between them. It's not required. The contract is between technically the sureties, the creditor, right? So the surety undertakes that he would be paying in case of default of the principal debtor. That's it. So three different people writing three different contracts under three different bonds is also fine. They needn't contract between themselves. So कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है वो, right? तारी बात समझ. तो यहाँ लाइबिलिटी तो है ही है भाई. 144 क्या बोलता है? इफ वन ऑफ देम हैव ड्रॉप्ड आउट, राइट, लेट अस से A, B and N were the three co-sureties. 144 says if N, one of them dropped out, then are the others still liable? The answer is no, the others are not liable, right? So 144 says if one of the co-sureties fails to join, वो word use किया गया है, then the other co-sureties are also not liable. Right. Now, give four differences between bailment and pledge. Pledge is nothing but a kind of a bailment contract. We have already done in the previous papers. I won't be wasting my time on this one. But bailment can be for any purpose. Pledge is generally for securing debt. Bailment can be for any purpose. It can be for deposit of goods, for tailoring, repair, right? And the list goes on and on and on, right? So वो bailment contract होता है. Pledge, अच्छा, pledgee can sell the goods if payment is not made. Yes. Bailer, the bailee can sell the goods. The answer is no. The bailee can use the goods. The answer is yes if the contract provides for. The pledgee can he use the goods? No. Right? वैसे आपको लिस्ट बनाना है, बहुत सिंपल है. Now coming to question number 4. Rahul, a transporter was entrusted with duty of transporting tomatoes. अरे आइटम बदल गई, एप्पल की जगह tomatoes. Very good. From a rural farm to a city by Ashwin. Due to heavy rains, Rahul was stranded for more than 2 days. Rahul sold the tomatoes below the market rate in the nearby market where he was stranded, fearing that the tomatoes may perish. Can Ashwin recover the loss from Rahul on the ground that Rahul had acted beyond his authority? एकदम नहीं, राइट. ये हो गया सेक्शन 189 का केस. सेक्शन 189, तो सेक्शन 189 का केस आ गया. Very good. So what does section 189 have to say? Section 189 talks about agency by necessaries, right? So we have learned this in Apple wala case very, very clearly, that three things have to be kept in mind, right? One, the person who was stranded or maybe in trouble, right? The transporter guy in this case should have attempted to communicate to the principal, right? And on the communication not happening, we go to point number 2. As he wasn't able to communicate, he takes all the necessary measures in order to protect the best interests of the principal. Third, he should have acted as a person of ordinary prudence would have done in his own case of the goods of same bulk and value. So if these conditions are satisfied, then nothing can be nothing of loss can be claimed from the so-called agent, because this is agency by necessaries, right, or emergency, section 189. So that's sorted. Mr. Chetan, I suppose there's no doubt on this one. खाली वो एप्पल की जगह टमाटो आ गया, राइट, उसमें कोई आंसर बदल नहीं जाता है. Now question number 5. Mr. Chetan है. Mr. Chetan was appointed as site manager of ABC Construction Company on a 2 years contract at a monthly salary of 50,000. Mr. Pawan gave a surety in respect of Mr. Chetan's good conduct, fidelity guarantee. After 6 months, the company was not in position to pay 50,000 to Mr. Chetan because of financial constraints. Chetan agreed to a lower salary of 30,000 from the company. This was not communicated to Mr. Pawan. खाली communicate नहीं होता है भाई, consent भी चाहिए, right? Mere communication is not sufficient to the surety. You have to gain the consent of the surety. 3 months afterwards, it was discovered that Mr. Chetan has been doing fraud since the time he was appointed. व्हाट इज द लायबिलिटी ऑफ मिस्टर पवन ड्यूरिंग द होल ड्यूरेशन ऑफ चेतन अपॉइंटमेंट? ये बहुत सीधा सीधा है, ये है सेक्शन 133। क्या है 133 भाई? वेरिएशन, राइट। वेरिएशन में दो पार्ट में आंसर आएगा। वन, क्या लिखा है भाई? मिस्टर पवन, पवन's लायबिलिटी बिफोर वेरिएशन, क्या होगा आंसर? यस, मिस्टर पवन इज लायबल। नो लायबिलिटी subsequent to variation, right? So that's sorted, right? So before the variation, if whatever, let us say Mr. Chetan has done misappropriation of funds to the extent of 1 lakh, then आपको चेक करना है बिफोर वेरिएशन कितना है। 1 लाख यहाँ का फिगर नहीं, अज्यूम फिगर है मेरी तरफ से, फ्रॉम माई साइड। सो लेट अस से बिफोर द वेरिएशन ही हैड डन 30,000 of siphoning of funds and later on 70,000. So for 30 we will ask money from Mr. Chetan. If he doesn't happen to pay, Mr. Pawan has to pay. Subsequent to variation, Pawan will not pay anything at all. जो भी liability है चेतन की है, right? ठीक है। Now coming to question number 6, बहुत easy, एक बार concept समझ लो फिर कोई टेंशन नहीं है। What are the rights available to finder of lost goods under section 168 and section 169 of Indian Contract Act? पहले आना चाहिए आपको section 71, right? So I'll start from section 71. So section 71 of Indian Contract Act, which talks about finder of lost goods. Hollins versus Fowler, the most important case in this one, right? पहले ये समझते हैं, 168 169 बाद में देखेंगे। सबसे पहले finder of lost goods. Let me put an example over here. Hollins versus Fowler, the most important case, right? Now let us say sir goes to a jewelry store, right? कौन है यहाँ भाई? ज्वेलरी स्टोर इसके नाम का रखेंगे, से राघवेंद्र ज्वेलर्स, राइट? So Raghavendra Jewellers is a jewelry store. Sir goes to the jewelry store, does lot of window shopping, right? पैसा तो होना चाहिए ना. So I saw a lot of rings that I want to purchase for myself. No one gifts me anything, right? तो मैं खुद को ही गिफ्ट करने की ट्राई कर रहा हूँ, but none of them suits me. जो सूट करता है बजट के बाहर है. And finally, when I was coming out of the store, I saw a ring fallen on the ground, right? So there was a ring fallen on the ground, and I picked up the ring and showed it to the owner, Raghavendra Jewellers, stating that this ring belongs to your showroom. He says no, right? It's a used ring. Then I went outside, checked for people. There was no one who was looking out for a ring. Then I told Raghavendra, keep this ring and try to find the true owner, right? So Raghavendra keeps the ring and tries to find the true owner. On that he spends rupees 2,000, some pamphlets and stuff. So Raghavendra spends rupees 2,000 to find the true owner, but the true owner was not found. Sir later on went to Raghavendra and said, give the ring to me. Raghavendra says, no, I am the finder of the lost goods because the ring was found in my showroom. Who is the finder of the lost goods? Sir is the finder of lost goods. पहली बात, right? Can Raghavendra still keep the goods? The answer is yes. Raghavendra has technically acted as my agent. Right? ये बहुत सारे सेक्शन मिक्स हो जाएंगे, बहुत कम लोगों को ये समझ में आता है. Very few people understand and know this. Right? Raghavendra has acted as my agent, and the agent has a right to keep the property till his payments with respect to such property are not cleared. Right? So, sir can have the ring after paying the charges. कितने चार्जेस भाई? 2000. बट फाइंडर ऑफ लॉस्ट गुड्स कौन है? सर है. राइट? हॉलिन्स वाज फॉलर. I still recollect this. Turned up in the exam, and very important case. A 5 marker this was. So over here, Raghavendra Jewellers has acted as an agent, or you can say at the instructions of sir. So over here, sir is the finder of the lost goods, and the finder of the lost goods stands in the position of a bailey. ये बहुत important line है भाई. Finder of the lost goods stands in the position of a bailey, as if the goods are given to him. राइट? तो सेफ कीपिंग के लिए दिया है, वैसे रखना है भाई. ठीक है. सो द फाइंडर ऑफ द लॉस्ट गुड्स. एक और बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट. लेट अस से सर लॉस्ट हिज वॉच ऑन द रोड. राइट? मिस्टर यश फाउंड द वॉच. राइट? Mr. Yash found the watch. Now over here, Yash has spent a sum of rupees 750 in trying to trace the true owner and safe custody of goods. Right? On him finding sir, right, that Yash found sir, he wants to charge that 750 rupees before he hands over the good to me. Can he do that? The answer is yes. The finder of lost goods can charge necessary expenses before parting away with the goods, so he can keep the goods with him. Right? So he has a right over the goods against the whole world apart from the true owner, and as against true owner he has a right of lien. He can keep the goods until unless the true owner pays the necessary charges. The true owner has to pay the necessary charges. सही बात, कोई टेंशन नहीं यहां तक. Now, can Yash file a suit? Can finder file a suit for recovery of such expenses? This is my big question. The answer is a big no. He can have a lien over the goods, he can sell the goods, but he cannot file a suit in order to recover such expenses. Just imagine this scenario, that there is one person who goes on the road, picks up everything that has been thrown by somebody else as discarded goods. Just imagine I throw my old pair of shoes on the road, someone turns up, picks up the shoes and keeps running behind me till my house, which is 15 kilometers, catches a cab and chases me down. right? And he has spent some $1,000 on the cab. Do you think I am there to pay? Forget it. Can he file a suit? No. You have done it voluntarily. Come on. So if I keep on throwing the goods and you keep on picking up the goods, you are kabadi wala, right? You are a junk seller, a junk collector. So for this kind of notorious disorder that you have, that you keep on picking the goods thrown by people, forget it. You cannot file a suit, but yes, you can keep the goods if you want, that kachra, and sell that and recover it. So you can't force me down. If I say my shoes are, I've discarded my shoes, you can keep it, you can wear it, you can throw it, it's none of my business, right? You cannot file a suit, right? So that's the logic behind the rule, that the finder of the lost goods can keep the property, can sell the property at the end of the day if the true owner disagrees to pay the amount, right? But you still cannot file a suit for such expenses that you have incurred. Keep that in mind, right? So that is some part of finder of lost goods, because finder of lost goods again is a pretty long section. So this is some brief summary of section 71. I would recommend it as a must read. Now coming to the question what they asked, 168 and 169. Let me start with 168. It says that the finder of the lost goods cannot sue, where I left 71, cannot sue the true owner right, but can retain the goods, right? He has, जैसे मैंने अभी बोला था, a particular lien over the goods, right? So in case the original owner is not paying anything, he has a lien over the goods, and later on he can either use or sell the goods as he wants, right? और एक बात बताई 168 में, that if the finder knows about a reward announced by the true owner before he finds the goods, then he can claim such reward. Claim such reward, right? So 168 talks about the reward also, subject to you knowing about it. Let us say I've lost my watch and I announced a reward of rupees 10,000. Now watch is very special to me. Now 10,000 rupees का मैंने reward दिया है. Let us say Mr. Yash finds the watch, and before finding the watch he comes to know about the reward thing, lucky guy, then he can claim it. Now this section is little dicey. Now who will say that did he knew it before he got the watch, did he knew it after he got the watch? But the law says he should know it before he got the watch, then only the reward can be claimed. So it's very dicey to prove it in the court of law, right? So that's why I always say the Contract Act lays down the ground without bothering much about the proof, right? The proving has to be taken care by the other acts and by the valued understanding of the judges and the lawyers, but it just lays down the ground, if this then this. So it says that, and there's a logic to everything, but at times it is very difficult. जैसे कि finder of the lost goods वाली बात ले लो. So if a person has found the goods and later came to know about it, means he has not put in an inch of effort to find the goods. He came across the goods, somehow he found it, and then he came to know about the reward. So technically there is no effort involved in there, right? So if he has known it before and let us say then he stumbled upon it, so इसका logic है, एक effort का logic है जो हम लोग normally humans बात करते हैं. The second more legal logic is once you found the goods, the communication of offer happened later on, and if the communication of offer has happened before and then you found the goods, there are two separate logics. I can accept the communication, I can accept the offer one which is communicated to me, then I do the work, right? दूसरे में आप देखो कि अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं है, right, and I found the goods, it's like accepting it and then the communication of offer happens, which is not possible. First offer then acceptance. तो लीगल पूरा फ्रेमवर्क बहुत ही क्लीन है, बहुत लॉजिकल है, बट एट टाइम्स इट बिकम्स रियली डिफिकल्ट टू प्रूव इट इन द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. कमिंग टू सेक्शन 169 talks about the finder of lost goods, his right to sell, right? Talks about his right to sell. See, there are some points given over here. The finder of lost goods can sell the goods, just put it short, when the true owner is not found despite reasonable efforts by the finder of lost goods. When the true owner is found, but refuses to pay the reasonable charges, Three, when the goods are in danger of losing a greater part of its value. When the reasonable expenses exceed two-thirds of value of the goods, right? तो when the true owner, let us say Yash found my watch, he tried to find me, reasonable efforts were put in, I couldn't be found, he can sell it, right? Yes, he can. When the true owner is found but refuses to pay the reasonable charges, I say, okay, for finding this watch you're asking for 750 bucks, I'm not giving it, but I want the watch. No, forget it. Yash can very much sell it, recover that 750 rupees. Anything additional that he got above 750 has to be given back to me. Please keep that in mind. So यहाँ लिख देता हूँ रेड में, any amount received from sale beyond reasonable charges has to be given back to the true owner. Now, no matter how bad this true owner guy is and he doesn't want to pay you, but if you have recovered anything beyond the reasonable charges, you have to give it back to the true owner, right? Third one, when the goods are in danger of losing a greater part of its value, let us say it's night 10 or 11 o'clock, you're walking on the street, right, hungry, distressed, and suddenly you find a pizza guy going at some immense pace and a box drops out of his bike. And then with a very meek tone you shout at that guy, Bhaiya, please stop, right? And he races ahead, and now you have a pizza on hand which is in a position to lose greater part of its value. So you should either sell it or पता है बहुत भूख लगी है खा जाओ, right? So when the goods are in danger of losing a greater part of its value, then sell कर सकते हैं आप, right? You will not there be trying to find the true owner, otherwise the goods will completely lose its value. When the reasonable expenses exceed 2/3 of the value of the goods, this is very interesting, guys. This point I like very much, बहुत मस्त point है ये. Now मानो कि I've lost a watch on the road which is now valued at 1500 after depreciation, WDV, right? And 1000 rupee हो गया इसका 2/3 value, right? So Mr. Yash found the watch. So the rule very clearly states after 2/3, so after 1000 bucks, you are in a position to spend to sell the watch and recover your money. Let us say Yash spends 1600 rupees, this intelligent fellow, on a old junk watch. He spends 1600 rupees, right? So am I supposed to pay, because obviously 1600 में उसने he spent 1600 bucks, he would be able to sell the watch for 1500 bucks, right? Am I liable to pay the other 100 rupees? The answer is no, sir is not liable, क्योंकि law ने आपको बोला है 2/3 value आ जाए please sell कर दो. That's why law is providing a cushion of 33.33333333%, right? So the law is providing you a cushion that you don't end up overspending. So at one point after 2/3 you are free to go ahead and sell the commodity. Don't keep on spending, right? But let us say after spending 1000 bucks he was able to sell it for 1500, so 500 profit. Nah. In case the true owner is found, it has to be given back to the true owner, right? So this is how the 2/3 rule works, and that is the logic behind the 2/3 rule, right? So that is section 169. So we are done with section 168 and 169. 168 and 169 talks about the rights available to finder of lost goods. So claim, आप डायरेक्टली सूट फाइल नहीं कर सकते हो, बट इफ देयर इज एनी रिवॉर्ड यू कैन क्लेम इट. यू हैव अ पर्टिकुलर लीन ओवर द गुड्स. इफ दैट गाय इज नॉट पेइंग, यू कैन कीप द गुड्स. मोर ओवर, 169 प्रोवाइड्स राइट टू सेल। ठीक है, तो ये सारी बातें हमने कवर कर ली।